This vigil is set to begin any moment now, Todd. People started showing up here at the St. Lucie County Fairgrounds about an hour ago, and there's been a steady stream of people here ever since. Take a look at the size of the crowd. You can see, I'm guessing, at least several hundred people here. I've seen people as they show up, they're carrying balloons, they're carrying flowers, they're carrying candles. I'm told there's going to be music here tonight. There's going to be some videos here tonight and some prayers as well. I'm sure quite a few tears here. The St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office is here as well. The crowd is so big that they are providing crowd control, also providing parking assistance because of all the people here. To give you an idea as to why they're having it here at the fairgrounds, well, for one, crowd this big, they needed a place to put it, but also if you look in the distance over the crowd, you can see some flashing lights out there. Those are the sheriff's cruisers. That is also where this crash happened. So they're sort of right on top of where the crash happened. That's one of the reasons why they're here tonight. Of course, this is going to be a very emotional night as they remember these two teenagers. We, of course, will have a full report on it coming up tonight at 11 o'clock. That's the very latest reporting live from the St. Lucie County Fairgrounds.